It is telling the man that his marriage is more important than his relationship to his parents and more important than his job. So I was about to make a video on the fall of Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 3 when I noticed this one verse at the end of chapter 2 which I found shockingly countercultural. And I wanted to share it with you before I move down to chapter 3. This video is going to be rather short. I'm only going to share this one verse with you because I found it so surprising. But let me read it to you. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Now, that does not seem particularly surprising to us, and I think that's why I missed it for so long. It just seemed pretty normal. A young man gets married and moves out of his parents' home. I mean, sometimes people today might stay with their parents just to economize, but for the most part, it doesn't seem strange to us that a new family would leave their parents. But those cultures of the ancient Near East were what is called patrilocal, and that means that the man did not leave his family. The woman left her family and moved in with her husband's family. Both property and lineage went through the male. And it's the husband's household that would be responsible for passing on the family name and maintaining the inheritance, whether it was money or property. In this kind of dynamic you see even in Genesis, where when Isaac marries Rebekah, it's Rebekah that goes to Canaan. So this was normal for those times. The male kinship relationships and the tribal structures of those days almost demanded it. And marriages tended to be contractual family arrangements, not just two individuals. So to someone from that time and place, having the man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife would sound very odd indeed. And I can't think of a social structure that we have, a social contract that we have, whose violation would be parallel to what this verse in Genesis is saying. Welcome to Carving the Bible. My name is Francisco, and on this channel I react to the Bible as I carve it into granite. So what is this verse really all about? It tells us in the second part, or the second phrase, then the clue is the man will cleave to his wife and they shall become one flesh. The man will cleave to his wife and they shall become one flesh. Now the Hebrew word for cleave is dabak. And dabak connotes loyalty, devotion, steadfastness. In other parts of the Bible, dabak is used when it's describing the relationship between the Israelites and God. It's that type of arrangement. It's that type of loyalty. So by using this word, marriage at the end of Genesis chapter 2 is really being described as a covenant, not simply a contract or a useful arrangement between families. It is telling the man that his marriage is more important than his relationship to his parents and more important than his job. Because back in those days, usually a young man worked for his father. His father was also his boss. He worked in the family farm or helping to tend the family herds or working on the family business. The verse is issuing a challenge. Where is your primary loyalty? And it gives an answer to your wife. It's funny because sometimes I read advice columnists for entertainment, and in many cases they're actually talking about relationships with the in-laws. There's always some kind of trouble. The mother-in-law is acting like a bully, or the father-in-law is trying to use his money to manipulate the couple, etc., etc. And the columnists usually have the same kind of response, which is your primary loyalty has to be with your spouse in order to have a healthy relationship. And here we're talking about healthy relationships, because when there are other types of relationships where it's unhealthy, then this might not actually work out. But in a healthy relationship, that's where the primary loyalty will be, for the health of the marriage and for the health of family and any children that issue from that relationship. So those columnists give the same advice as Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. Your spouse needs to be your primary concern. So that's all I have for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. My next video is going to be on the fall of Adam and Eve, and I'm going to put a link somewhere around here in case you want to watch that.